So Hakeem Jeffries is now experiencing some buyer's remorse with his fellow Communist Party members.
Do Democratic Socialists belong in the Democratic Party, Leader Jeffries?
Well, what I can say is that I do not support defunding the police. I do not support open borders. I do not support abolishing the Senate.
Do you think, though, that there is room in the Democratic Party under the tent of the Democratic Party for Democratic Socialists? Is it big enough?
Well, listen, I don't support the DSA agenda as has been articulated by the DSA itself.
By the way, do me a favor, hit that like button if you are enjoying the content. That's the best way to tell me. For more, subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit all for your notifications. That way you never miss when I release a video. And so now Hakeem Jeffries wants to be more definitive and draw a line in no defunding the police, no open borders, no abolishing the Senate. But the problem is that now it's a bit too late. You can draw the line in the sand all you want, but guess what? You can't erase what's already been done, where now these ideas have a foothold inside his own party. The progressive wing has candidates, activists, momentum, forcing establishment Democrats to now react to positions that they once treated as fringe. Yeah, and so now he can finally say, yeah, it's not my agenda, but it's a little bit too late for all of that now. The fox is in the hen house and they smell blood.
Some of the agenda includes things that have been controversial, things you did not name, by the way, in what is most important to you and the voters of Florida, including defunding police or abolishing prisons. Because those are part of the platform that the DSA officially agenda has talked about, do you support those or want to be distanced from those in people's consideration?
So I want to be clear. There are things that are a part of the Democratic, clearly, platform since Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are not supportive of Medicare for all, which should be a right for folks to have access to quality health care. I want to abolish for-profit prisons because I believe right now people aren't educating our children and they're ushering them into the school to prison pipeline because they want to exploit labor. They're enhancing penalties because they want cheap labor. And so those are some of the things that I am supportive of.
Well, hold on. You're talking about people. Are you talking about these deep blue Democrat cities that are overwhelmingly Democrat ran, Democrat run? I mean, there's not a Republican in sight in a lot of these deep blue cities that have been Democrat for a long time. And so whose fault is it if the kids aren't learning what they're supposed to be learning, if the education is failing them? Yeah, so the thing that you pick up on immediately when you listen to these people speak long enough is that they are highly anti-American. I mean, and you don't just have to take my word for it. While they'll try and pull the old okie doke to make themselves seem more moderate once they get past the primaries, listen to how their base sounds when they get on their brainstorming calls and express their true feelings about this country. Take a listen.
So the two things that we're famous for is our commitment to a program and our hatred of the United States Constitution. And what the program does is it gives us a roadmap to revolution, and it gives us the obstacle that we finally will have to get over to have a revolution, which is the United States Constitution, the basis of the United States government. And what the minimum maximum program specifically, what that format specifically gives us is that roadmap. It gives us the minimum circumstances under which we would be able to take power and govern. And it gives us the maximum program, which is the goals that we're actually aiming for.
And what are some of those things that they're aiming for? Well, just go directly to the source, their own website, Democrat Socialists of America, our program. Imagine taking a day off from work in the future without capitalism. It may not feel as badly needed as it does now. You enjoy your work. It's interesting to you and you're well trained for it. You work as much as you are able and no more than needed. And you would control your own labor and see it going to good use. It's just not a job to pay the bills. You have no debt. Food, education, energy, medicine, and transportation aren't for-profit businesses. They are common goods and utilities. It's been said that it's easier to imagine the end of the world than it is to imagine the end of capitalism. But just because it isn't easy to imagine now doesn't mean we shouldn't try to make it happen. Yeah, so if you leave it up to them, they would like to see America look a whole lot more like Cuba. Take a listen to this. DSA's national co-chair says America should take notes from Cuba's communist dictatorship. Cuba's mostly good. We should see what we can learn from them. Take a listen.
So other socialist projects around the world, we're not going to come at them with, Cuba's wrong. Everything they do is wrong. They're not real socialists, which is a thing that some people say, and that's fine. They're certainly allowed to do that. We would debate that and say, Cuba's mostly good. We should see what we can learn from them. Nobody's perfectly good. We would never frame anything like that.
Yeah, and so they're saying Cuba mostly good. That's exactly what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Sit on that for a moment, because what the Democrat socialists keep on trying to sell you is that what they're offering is some new and improved version, some more advanced technological version of socialism, when nope, just listen close enough and you realize that they're saying the quiet part out loud. It's the same old failed socialism that hasn't worked, won't work, and will never work. Cuba's a one-party communist state with a long record of restricting political dissent and individual freedoms. But yeah, according to them, America, we could learn a thing or two. Yeah, so just listen to what these people admire, listen to what they want to change, listen to the system that they want to tear down and replace it with, and then listen to establishment Democrats go along with it because they believe this is the direction the party is going. And so they might as well get on board. Take a listen.
Finally, tonight, the pressure is mounting on establishment Democrats. Either get on board or get out of the way, because one thing is clear, moderates are no longer welcome. Just look at the Kentucky governor, wannabe president Andy Beshear, who's now talking out of both sides of his mouth, at first calling socialism a failed experiment. Take a look.
58% of Democrats have a positive view of socialism, and just 32% have a positive view of capitalism. What do you make of that?
What I make of it is that people are struggling. Now, I believe socialism is a failed experiment, but I do believe that we need to get results for the American people.
Yeah, so there you have that. And so this is why the labels don't matter, ladies and gentlemen. Just listen to the things that these people try to push. They may say they're not a socialist, they're not a communist, but listen to what they want to actually push in this country. In one breath, he says socialism is a failed experiment. And then in the next, he says that we should abolish the Electoral College. Take a listen.
Fix the darn government constitutional amendment. It is time. It should outlaw partisan redistricting and enshrine part of the Voting Rights Act right there in the Constitution. It should create term limits for Congress and the Supreme Court. No more gaming those appointments. It should also overturn Citizens United, and I think call for direct elections of the president and the vice president. That could actually make things work. A big idea that would, yes, change government, but in a way enshrined in the Constitution where people would know it's going to get better.
I didn't realize you support abolishing the Electoral College, if you're saying direct election of the president and vice president.
Yeah, I've said it a number of times.
Let's break this down, because don't be fooled because he threw in there that there should be term limits on Supreme Court and Congress. He wants to abolish the Electoral College, which would basically mean when presidential campaigns happen, they would solely end up focusing on the more densely populated parts of this country, which happen to usually be deep blue liberal run cities. Go figure, right? Which would also mean that the smaller rural states would end up being neglected and become more irrelevant. Yeah, and so it's talk like that where it's no wonder the Democrat Party has become so unpopular, and even CNN had to admit it. Because establishment Democrats, they have no platform, they have nothing to stand on, and so they're just going along with whatever the far left establishes and says they should go with.
Not the Democratic brand. You know, Donald Trump's political brand ain't too hot to trot these days. But I got to tell you, PU, when it comes to the Democratic brand, the net favorability rating of the Democratic Party. You know, back in 2018, when Democrats, during the first Trump presidency, right, when they were able to win back control of the House, they were even. They were even, right? Favorable minus unfavorable, even at 0-0-0. Now look at this. 25 points underwater. Oof. You know, the Dem brand, as I said, It's not too good these days. It's not too good.
Yeah, so despite the fact that you can have polls that show that President Trump isn't very popular right now, none of that really even matters as much as it probably should when it comes to being an advantage for the Democrats, because they're not very well liked anyway. And the so-called leader, Hakeem Jeffries, I mean, he's not steering this ship anymore.
Just to be very clear, though, as a Democratic leader in the House, would you vote for or against Medicare for All?
I think, as you've indicated in your question to me, it's not legislation that I currently am co-sponsoring or that I support.
Looks like Hakeem Jeffries has a bit of an issue because he may be the odd man out when it comes to what he supports versus his commie buddies in Congress. Take a listen.
Hakeem Jeffries needs to listen to the base of the party. The vast majority, the polls are showing that the vast majority of our party, they want Medicare for all. They want us to restrict aid to Israel. That's what the people want. And so I'm listening to the people, and that's why we're seeing these victories across the country.
What do you make of what you just heard from Leader Jeffries on Medicare for All?
Medicare for All is arguably the most important priority.
What Medicare for All does is it does away with the private insurance market, right? It now has one single payer. That's why we call it single payer, right? One insurance, and that is the government of the United States.
Yeah, and so how would they pay for all of this? Well, they plan on taxing the hell out the rich. Now, they don't really know what that actually means, but no worries, because they still plan on taxing the middle class too. Take a listen.
But we do believe in taxing the hell out of millionaires. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what does taxing the hell out of them mean?
Yeah, you know, I don't have like a solid, but I think.
But shouldn't you? I mean, if you're the co-chair, of the DSA, shouldn't you be more specific than just taxing the hell out of something? What exactly do you mean?
So again, it's democracy, right? And we have to look at what we need to spend and what we need. We don't want to depend on the existence of millionaires because that means people are still getting exploited. So so yeah, we need to look at what we need to pay for in the interim, what sort of tax base we need for that to happen, and then and build from there.
It is going to require taxes, and the question of who pays those taxes is an important question. There was a philosophical debate about how much of those taxes we would ask working Americans to pay. And I fall on the argument that I think it's important that from the political economy perspective, that everybody pays a bit in, because when you look at conservative arguments for Social Security and Medicare, it almost always has to do with the fact that I paid into the system, ergo I take from the system. And I think that is a justification that's worth investing in here.
Yeah, and so Democrats created this problem for themselves, and now they have to deal with it for years. They spent time talking about how that's just the fringe. Nobody really is going for that type of stuff. And now look, now it's taken over their entire party, basically. People they brought into their big tent, they're not just sitting by quietly. Now they're voicing exactly what they feel, exactly what they want to do, and exactly what they believe. And the problem is not going to go away just simply because now you got Hakeem Jeffries saying that he doesn't agree with them. And the people who are going to get stuck dealing with the consequences are going to be the same people who always get stuck dealing with the consequences. The working class that they say they're actually trying to help. But those are my thoughts in the update. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below. I appreciate when you chime in. Don't forget, you enjoy the content, smash that thumbs up. For more, subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.